Which world is more brutal, cricket or Love Island? That's something I never thought I'd say in my life, but here we are. Joining me, Sanjay Murthy and...
Geraint Jones.
Jonesy for you. Brilliant. It's excellent. What a great opening to a podcast that is. Every week he gives me a bollocking for not, I just say me, Sanjay Murthy and him, and he goes, oh, you can't say him. And then I give him a chance to say his name, and he cocks it up. Joining me and Jonesy is Max Morley, Love Island winner in 2015, but this is a cricket podcast. He was also part of Yorkshire's Pathway programme and played for Durham alongside stars such as Ben Stokes and Mark Wood. Welcome to Close and Play, Max.
Thanks for having me, guys. Much appreciated.
Yes, that's better than you, Jonesy. Look, that was professional. Max, let's
I was
start with you.
amazed you even introduced me this time, mate, to be honest.
Well, I did it last time when we did the Lords thing. I just thought you would have known. Max, what's tougher, do you reckon, professional cricket or Love Island?
Oh, do you know what? That's an easy question for me. Love Island was an absolute breeze. It was literally 8 weeks sat in the sunshine, getting fed alcohol, speaking to some young ladies. It was easy compared to the county scene. So that was an easy question. Definitely Love Island's a lot easier and a lot more fun, should I say.
Jonesy, given the sections about cricket and Love Island, there's not much you're going to do in this bit. So if you want to get some of your Mr. Men mugs out and props or whatever, you crack on. But which environment, Max, do you reckon judges you most harshly?
Oh, do you know what? It's interesting on that because cricket's a very fickle world. One day you're a hero, the next you're the villain. It really does. It's day by day. But yeah, I mean, look, reality TVs can be very brutal. You don't know who's watching. You don't know what's being said or filmed, especially behind your back. But yeah, they're both similar in a way, but also very different. Sports a crazy game, but so is reality TV.
When you were in 05, I'll bring you in, Jonesy. When we were in 05, did you actually feel at any point that you were in a reality TV show? Do you see how I did that? It's good, wasn't it?
Brilliant, mate.
Thanks.
I suppose the strangest moment, which I've mentioned before, was at Manchester on the last day there, where we had to sort of navigate our way through. They said there was 10,000 people locked out of the ground, and so at that point, that was the most surreal moment where you thought, "Hang on a minute, is this true?" And I suppose also on the bus ride, when we're again going through London with people hanging out of windows, and we didn't have a clue how many were going to show up, and to have that many number and then finish in Trafalgar Square, that was probably the maddest sort of moments, to be honest.
Max, did people in cricket look at you differently after that?
I guess so. Yeah, I think it's looked at differently now. For me, when I got released from Durham, I was a little bit like, "Where's my life going? What do I really want to do?" I kind of was a little bit bitter towards cricket, and an opportunity came up to go on a reality TV show, which at the time it was brand new. So it was the first series. It was the unknown, and I was at a little bit of a loss. So I took the opportunity, and then I guess coming off the show, you're obviously going to be looked at differently. But I think the way the show's grown now, if you choose to go on Love Island over a county career or a cricket career, you are definitely looked at differently. The show's now a monster. You come off there and your life is changed. Where it was a little bit different for me, it wasn't quite like that. The show was in its infancy. It was its first series, so you came off there and you didn't know what the reaction was going to be from the audience with cricket, whatnot. But to answer your question, I guess yes, you are going to be looked at differently. But that was not my intention going on at the time. I was not in the county scene. I didn't have a club, and I was looking just to kind of fill a hole, should I say.
What's interesting? I was looking at some of the viewing numbers actually, Jonesy, and that the Trent Bridge day 4, day 5, day 4, I think. It might be the final day. Peaked at 8.5 million viewers on that. Whereas, Love Island, in yours, Max, the final was like 770,000, I think. And it's about over 1 million now. It's funny the difference in the viewing numbers are so big, yet something like Love Island's got actually a lot more cultural resonance, I guess, than cricket has, which is a bit weird given the massive disparity in the viewing numbers.
I'm not sure if you're bigging me up there or you're trying to knock Max down there, Sanjay. That's a bit.
That's fair.
I think the biggest difference, we were free to air at that point, and so there wasn't much else, so you had to watch it, and it captured everyone. But I think with going on reality TV now, for me, I'd dread it because one, the narrative of it, where it goes, how you're shown, what the whim of the producers and stuff. This is just my total ignorance of what happens, but actually now with social media and everything like that, little snippets, a bit like what you do with the podcast, little snippets can go viral and something massive can happen out of what could be very small and inconsequential. Whereas, so that's, I'd sort of, my hat goes off to Max for sort of jumping into that and giving it a go. But I also think he probably, like you said at the start, what a great time to go into it right at the start, where you sit on a beach for 8 weeks and get alcohol and ways. I would have been good at it just wearing my sunglasses every day just to watch where my eyes were going for wandering eyes. But sounds like Max. I think great time now. So I think it's probably maybe a different landscape to going on reality TV.
It is very true that the social media space, as a whole, has completely changed. I think when I went on, I came off with about 100,000 followers. Now they're coming off with millions, and the audience is completely different. So I totally agree with that.
So if I'm a celebrity come knocking on your door, Jonesy, you're going to turn them down, are you? Tough as one on it.
I'm not a celebrity. And he's come knocking. That's the chance. But
I've
got.
I was a celebrity, but I'm not anymore. That sort of thing.
I try not to be. Yeah.
But I mean, on that theme, cricketers are more, I guess, with franchise cricket and stuff. Cricketers nowadays are more and more like celebrities, I guess, aren't they? Max, you see, you still are friends with some of the guys up at Durham, I think, aren't you? And do you see that? Do you see a change in them as far as their celebrity status is concerned?
Again, I guess so. It goes back to the social media side of things, where these guys now do have big followings, so they're always in the spotlight. The franchise stuff, you've got cricket on telly constantly, and international cricket's huge. So I think the way the world's going and how sports kind of developing with players becoming a bit of a brand and big brand deals and constantly on television. The world has changed, and cricketers now are kind of looked at as superstars. Look at the India team and the IPL. These guys are top of the tree athletes that are on big money, and I guess the world has changed, and I guess that comes hand in hand with fans, followers, and especially the money in the game now.
Well, with the IPL franchise guys, it's funny how sometimes like a full circle, because they've become media stars. They're more in the spotlight, and the slightest thing they do, especially someone like Hardik Pandya, who they always seem to go after, the slightest thing that they do gets magnified into a huge thing. I guess if you're a reality TV star, there was something recently, wasn't there? One of the captains was vaping, or somebody was vaping in a dressing room, and it became a massive thing. And there's a danger, I guess, isn't there? I mean, I suppose the question there is, does cricket like personalities, or do you think that they want the players to stay in their lane and focus on what they're actually getting paid to do, Jonesy?
I think, people do want to see personalities. Take Mark Wood, for example. People love it when Woody is himself. He's mad as anything. And I noticed actually on the match you played, Max, I was looking at your stats. You played with Woody in your T20 match, and your figures were very, very similar. And so that was a bit of my research today. But the issue is now that people in the spotlight, especially when you're interviewed after matches, you're so guarded with what you give away at that point. and so that's where people probably don't see the personalities these guys are away from cricket. Whereas, and that's why the beauty of Mark Wood, because he is who he is all the time, and people love it, and that's what they want to see. But I also understand, in my time, I didn't give the press probably the views I wanted to, and open myself up because of the worry of what that could lead on to. But I think with certain individuals now, and this is where your own Instagram, your own social media stuff comes and plays that part. You're able to give out what you want a bit more, but you still, when it comes to the matches and what you're saying about teams and coaches, you still will be guarded in that environment.
Do you reckon dressing rooms were more relaxed about individuality when you played, Jonesy?
You still wanted people to be exactly that, So if we talk about the England dressing room, when KP came into it, he was different because he was a change of the guards. He brought in, he was talking about jewelers that can get you watches. He was talking about a dentist and get your teeth done. So that was a new landscape to that dressing room, but it was also used as banter used for that dressing room fun against him. So you still wanted him to be that way. Joe Denley, who I played with, he was a great character. And people wanted him to, in the dressing room, to be himself. I remember Rob Key sort of would make Joe put a helmet on, and Keysy, if he'd got out and Joe got out, Keysy'd get tennis rackets and belt the ball at him. And so you never sort of squashed that. You wanted the guys to do it because it was part of them relaxing in a professional environment. If you sort of boxed them up, you weren't letting them be their own individuals, which then had the chance of knocking onto their performances.
Do you reckon KP would have got on in Love Island, Max?
I think he'd have upset a few people. Listen, KP is KP, and you're not going to change him. He's not going to change for anyone. So love him or hate him, he is what he is, and I'm a massive fan. I'm not going to lie. It'd have been good if he did come on Love Island. Could have talked cricket to someone, but I think he'd have done all right. But definitely upset a few people.
What was he like in the change rooms, Jonesy? Do you reckon did he see himself as a reality TV character, or was he primarily a cricketer first?
KP was very shrewd in terms of he knew cricket was going to take him where he wanted to go. I remember first seeing him in Nottingham well before the England days, when he was first sort of breaking his way in, and even then he was different. He dressed cool, he was sort of hanging out, and he basically, in my eyes, the way I boxed up KP is KP wanted sort of to be a footballer style cricketer. He that sort of money. He's got his pop star wife. And so much like a footballer, the image that we have of footballers, that's where I'm more aligned KP to, and he got there, and so he achieved what he wanted to that way, but he was always a bit different in terms of, the way he dressed and the way he behaved. He was confident and he was himself.
Max, are there similarities between a cricket change room and being in a Love Island environment, villa type thing, apart from the obvious differences? I meant from how people interacted and the expectations upon you.
Body shapes for one. I've seen Max's. Again, body shapes. I was stalking Max on his Instagram. There was no rigs like Max has got in cricket changing rooms. That is for sure.
Oh, Jonesy, you got to pass these leap tests and fitness tests. These days, you know that.
He said we saw Stokes the other day, didn't we? Lords, and he was looking trim, wasn't he? So yeah. So what were any similarities in the environment, Max?
For me, being in just not even cricket dressing rooms, just dressing rooms in general. I've always been around sport. I love my sport, and it was a massive thing for me I went into the villa on the second week. So there was already people there that kind of connected. They'd kind of got bonds. And at the end of the day, Love Island is a game. You're in there to win it. So going in the second week was quite hard because all the people that had gone in had kind of then been voted out. People found it really hard to get in there with these cliques. So for me, being in a cricket dressing room and understanding cricket, you got so many different personalities, so many different characters. Going into then Love Island, I've actually found really easier because I'm used to that environment of different personalities, different temperaments. I'm quite a laid back guy, so I don't really get irate or argumentative. So I kind of just fitted in really well. So for me, the similarities are, being around different people that normally you wouldn't be around day to day. That's the joys of sport. People are from all walks of life, and it's exactly the same for Love Island and reality TV in general. So for me, it was a massive bonus and something that I took from cricket and being in a dressing room.
I've never actually heard Jonesy say he's researched somebody as much as he said in the first 15 minutes of the show. Seriously. I mean, is that some sort of fanboy thing going on? Um,
It's going that way. Yeah, I think
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Max, did you win in 2015? That was your year for Love Island?
2015. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the year I retired. So we've got an affinity there. That's probably where it's linking. I finished my cricket in 2015 and Max won Love Island.
I mean,
yeah.
It's tenuous, right? I mean, right? Did you reckon you retired just to watch Max on Love Island? Is that what you're getting to? Do you think that's the route forward? No, you're not going with that. Going back to
I'm
your
not sure
cricket,
I've
Max,
ever watched an episode of it, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I bet we'll have to ask Jen. We could get Jen at the end of this and see whether you're a secret Love Islander. Did you feel that people didn't take you as seriously on a cricket field, Max, after the Love Island stuff?
Listen, obviously I've not had an amazing cricket career. I played one T20 game, but I was obviously in the scene and whatever. And looking back now, I'd have maybe little regrets that I'd have wished I pushed my cricket a little bit harder. I think I missed an opportunity to maybe go to other counties, trial around. I think at the time I was 20, 21 years old. And I thought when I got released from Durham, like it was the end of the world and I was done with cricket. Well, I look back now, I'm, early 30s. I wish I'd just give it a little bit more of a go. And as soon as I went on Love Island, then came off, cricket was kind of done. And I do now look back and have big regrets because I love my cricket now. Like I play a decent standard, Saturday, Sunday every week through the summer. And I just wished maybe in hindsight, I know you can't live your life like that, but I wish maybe I'd have just give cricket a bit more of a push. Because once I'd come off Love Island, the county career and the professional career was kind of done. Where I like to, not blowing myself, but I'd like to think I could have had a decent county career and done all right out of it if I'd have probably pushed it a little bit harder.
Was there much media training in and around the villa? Or was it just say what you think?
No, we were really lucky. I've never really watched the show, I'll be honest. It's not something I'm massively interested in myself. But when I've seen clips of it now, it looks very media driven and you kind of get told what to say, who to say it to, and it looks a little bit set up. Luckily, when I was on, it was the first series, so everything was kind of just new to everyone. And they let you just get on with it. We really were just sat in the sunshine, left. There was no phones. There were no time of day. Nothing. You had no idea what was going on in the outside world, and you were just left to go and have a good time, which I did. And luckily for me, it came across well to the public. Ended up winning, which again was a surprise to myself. I never went in to even win it. I just went in to get away and have a good time. But I actually believe that's the reason why I did quite well. There were some people going in there, they had game plans, they were trying to, there was a prize money and all that, and they were trying to win it. I wasn't interested in any of that. I just wanted to go and have a good time, and it worked out all right in the end.
Max, you spoke about feeling bitter after missing opportunities in cricket. You've said it before, and you've said it in the first part of Close of Play. Do you think cricketers, or you in particular, I guess, do you think you carry these moments forever in terms of missed opportunities?
I like to think that life's like all about timing. And sometimes if you do miss that opportunity, you do kind of live with regret. And I think in sport, if you don't take that moment, it's very hard to get it back. So yeah, I think the word bitter might be a little bit strong. But yeah, definitely a little bit of regret. And if you don't take your opportunity, or you don't, sport's very fickle, like I've said before. And if you're not there to take it, then you probably do live with a little bit of regret and bitterness. And listen, who knows what had happened if I hadn't have gone on Love Island? Who knows if I'd have carried on playing county cricket? That's the way the world is. But now that life settled down after reality TV, and I've fallen back in love with cricket. It'd be nice to maybe have lived that life as a professional cricket player. But hey, listen, we're here now. I'm not, and it is what it is.
Mate, Jones, there's something else you've got in common. You've both fallen back in love with cricket as well.
I never fell out of love with it. I think that's the thing. You never truly fall out of it, but I'm sort of refining it more. You always say I went and lived under a rock for 10 years, which I sort of did in a way, but I felt content with my career. And so, I was I'm aware that I'm very fortunate to have finished where one of my last defining moments was being carried off Lords after winning the one-day trophy with Gloucester, and very few people get that. And so when I look back at my career, I had some amazing things which allowed me to feel content with my whole career, and I think that's very pivotal. Whereas you have a lot of county cricketers that didn't have the success that I had. I won trophies, T20 trophies for Kent. I say that one day, with the Ashes and everything like that. So that really helped. Whereas there's a lot of guys who play a 15-year career, and they almost win, or they maybe never win. And so that's where that feeling of unfulfilled by it. But I was very lucky, and there was definite defining moments within my career which gave me opportunities. When my first match in 2003 for Kent, when the decision had been made that I was going to be the wicketkeeper. Paul Nixon had been at Kent, but then they chose me. He went back to Leicester. First match of the season, Leicester played Kent, back at Canterbury. Nico got 100 in the first innings. And here I was thinking, oh, right, he's gone out and done that. And then I batted, and I got dropped for 6 over the boundary to match 100. So that was a big moment. The fact that first match, when the person who they decided that I was going to replace had got 100, and I matched it. So that gave me that confidence. And that year I also played against Essex when Nasser was watching, and I got runs against Essex, and Nasser was able to go back to Duncan Fletcher and just promote me and say, listen, there's someone you've got to look at. But I suppose the biggest moment was on that West Indies tour, between the 4th and the 5th Test match. I'd targeted that if I was going to get a chance, Chris Reed is either going to have played really well in the first 4 Test matches and I wouldn't have an opportunity, or that might be a space where if I do something here, I could put my name forward for that 5th Test match and maybe get selected. And so, but I got bowled out off a no ball for 3 or 4. Something like, so that was that sliding door. If that hadn't have been a no ball, I don't think they would have made the decision. But I ended up getting 50 odd. And so then that led to me getting selected in that fifth Test match and gave me that England career. So there's definite moments. Even if I go way back to the trial I had for Kent as a 23-year-old rocking up to the indoor school with 16, 17-year-olds, the first ball I faced, I ran down the wicket to a spinner and hit them back over their head. And that was what caused the coach at the time, Chris Stone, to take notice. And if I hadn't have run down the wicket and done that, and if he hadn't have been watching, there's every chance that they would have sent me back to Abergavenny and I would have been working in a pharmacy and not had it. So there's definite moments where luck plays a chance, but also you being aware of those situations and taking that opportunity.
Does that resonate, Max, in terms of, maybe the end of your Durham career and then how Love Island came along from a sliding doors perspective?
Yeah, Jones, it's really interesting hearing, like, after the career you've had and the moments you've had, and the hearing that you still remember them, that time and them sliding doors moment, because it's fascinating hearing that. For me, there was so many opportunities that I look back at, and I think if it only gone that way, like my T20 debut, I bowled 3 overs, none for 16. There was I was bowling to Simon Cattage. I bowled really well, and Paul Collingwood was the captain at the time. Was stood at mid-off and he went to me, do you want to bowl your 4th over? And I said, yeah. And I bowled that 4th over. I went for 23 runs and I never played a T20 game again for Durham. So my figures were none for 14. It could have been, none for 16. And just little moments like that. And then we turned up to play Yorkshire the next game at Scarborough. And they took the covers off and it was a green seamer. Didn't get picked. And then I just struggled to get back in the side. Durham was not really spin-friendly grounds. The 4-day stuff was quite hard to get into, and just little moments, I was 12th man quite a lot of times, and yeah, little stuff where you're like, who knows? But yeah, it's interesting, really, really interesting in that from Jones that he remembers moments like that. Because now looking back, I look back and think, oh, if only. But yeah, fascinating.
And how much of cricket do you think is confidence, Max?
Oh, cricket's all about cricket is a mental game. You can have all the skill in the world, but if you've not got it up here, you've got nothing. And I think that's one again a regret that I have slightly. That I probably just didn't back myself enough. I was a little bit late to cricket. I got picked up luckily from John Windows, who was Durham Academy coach at the time. I played like a Yorkshire schoolboys game against Durham Academy, and I always felt I was a little bit behind. I was always playing catch up. I'm not really from a cricketing family, so I was a little bit late. It was actually 2005 Ashes that got me into cricket. So yeah, it's class. But yeah, I always just confidence for me was just, I'm quite a confident guy outside of cricket, but at the time I just always felt, when you go into the changing room, you got Paul Collingwood, and then you've got lads like Stokes and Woody who are naturally talented, and I was not really naturally talented. I had to really work hard for it. So yeah, confidence was one for me, quite a struggle. I've got better as I've got older, but yeah, if you've got no confidence in cricket, still at the top of your mark, you're going to be struggling.
Yeah, I guess
it's
you
also
agree with
about
that,
being
Jones.
backed. 100%. And as well as that confidence in yourself, you have to feel that is coming from those around you in terms of your teammates and in terms, I was very lucky that Fletcher and Vaughan backed me massively. If it was another set of management, I might, I may have only played a handful of tests, but they kept on backing me. So yeah, that's the thing with cricket. It's you as a player, you put yourself under so much pressure. It's mad because you just want to, you want to play for yourself, but it's also your teammates because you think all I want to do is not let my teammates down. And I've talked before about my stats. I absolutely hate my stats. They're pretty rubbish, to be fair. But where I judge myself more is on what contributions I made to the team at special moments. And those contributions then allowed me confidence around that group, allowed me to feel that the management had confidence in me to keep playing. And that's what I live for. I'm not one of these ones who's got their stats on the back of the toilet door and they look at them every day. I don't want to look at them. I think back about what I did at certain moments, which made a difference.
Are there cliques obviously in change rooms, in any sport, but just to keep going with any similarities I can find, Max, between cricket and Love Island, there are obviously cliques in all those environments, but were there any similarities in the cliques that you saw or that you experienced, I guess?
Actually, I bet you Jones will probably be able to answer this better than me, but in a way that
he was never in Love Island, mate.
No, but he'll understand that there is like leadership groups in changing rooms and the senior players, and then you do gravitate to certain types. You've kind of got to know who to kind of go to and what. And it was very similar in Love Island in the fact that there was dominant people in the villa, and there was also dominant people in the changing rooms. And it's how you kind of get in there with them and behave in a certain way. And then in life in general, you do just gravitate to certain personalities, But yeah, definitely similarities in cricket in Love Island, where there was dominant people and leaderships in changing rooms and also in Love Island. So you just, you've got to understand where you are and how to behave around them people.
So let's just turn that around, Jonesy's question to you then. How did it feel? Were the change rooms you were in, were there similarities, when you were an opening bowler for Clevedon, is that what they were called? When they already had a wicketkeeper, to Kent, to England, to, then to Gloucester. Were the Cliques all the same, or did they differ depending on the level you were playing at?
Yeah, I just like the word cliques because, I think it's in cricket, you have some, in a way, there's a bit of hierarchy. And so when you're making your way through, especially coming from, when I was working in Abergavenny and travelling to all the Kent matches, and there were some Kent legends in there, who I was playing alongside. And so for me, going into that dressing room, I was very aware of who those senior, you held back. Where were they sitting? Because I didn't want to upset them. Because if I go sit over there, so you almost, that sort of awareness of, I'm coming into an environment where there will be some top dogs and there will be some people who've earned the right to have that seniority, and I did have to fit into it. And so that's more of the way that I felt it. It was cricket. Cricket's got the tradition with the, if you're getting your county cap with recognised service. So they're the guys at sort of the top of the tree. You've got your captain. And then as you make your way into it, if you're a youngster first into the side, you're going to be fielding short leg. There's no choice about that. So there's bits like that along the way. It's more hierarchical and seniority rather than cliques. There will be guys who naturally affiliate with each other. Hameed and Fred, they really enjoyed their company, so they spent a lot of time together. So there's guys that enjoy each other's company. But what's the beauty of a dressing room? I'd like to think that someone could come into that environment. If they wanted to go out to dinner with someone like that, they'd just accept them. But, and that's for me is what I experienced throughout my whole cricketing career was, yes, I was aware of senior players, but if I wanted to join in with that, a clique would just shove you away and wouldn't have you involved. But cricket dressing rooms are so fantastic for bringing you in and making you feel part of it and wanted and also valued.
What was the weirdest teammate habit that any of you two saw that you can say publicly after a long period of time not being in a change room?
Go on, Jones. Habits. I'm trying to think.
Go on.
I played with Ed Smith, who we saw at Lords the other day, captained Kent, captained Middlesex, went on his chairman selectors. Incredible. He had loads of different stuff he would do. He would line his bats up so they were touching, shoulders were touching, so those sort of habits. When he would do his Velcro gloves and pads up, he would rip, and he would have a certain sequence of how he did that. And so that was Ed's habits, which were, they were a bit weird, and people would mess up with them. Or only every now and again, he'd line all his shoes up, but people respected that and did it. But that was a bit. I used to sit there and marvel and watch when he was going in next, just how he went through every pad. He would rip and go out. And so Ed carried some of the quirkiest habits that I played with.
I guess, Max, you can give us a more up-to-date version, can't you, of some of the people you played with? I mean, I know our average age of this podcast is reasonably high, but Ed Smith's probably pushing us to our upper limits there. Can you bring it down a bit with some more modern stories?
I can't quite think of habits, but I'd definitely say someone like Keaton Jennings. He was so particular on every single thing he did, even from weighing his food out to numbers on pads and gloves and bats. Like, the guy is like, he was I think he's a qualified accountant now, so he was like so number driven. So I used to live with Keats, so me and him were like two completely different personalities, but we got on so well. And I used to sit there, I'd eat my takeaways, or I'd just, shoving food down, and he's there weighing his food out and his rice. And it was all about preparation and routine for Keats. And listen, it's worked well for him now. He's had a great career. Not habits as such, but my God, he was on it.
We did his bit that Jonesy loves, Max. It's called Silly Point, and effectively we've tried various quizzes. We've tried true or falses. We've tried all sorts, and we've stuck on this thing recently called Who Am I, which is like 20 questions, right? And he's not bad at it. We sort of get there. I don't have to give too many clues. But I've changed it this week because you're here, basically. So rather than Who Am I, I've made it Who said it, or Who said this. One of the two will come out on social media. So I'm going to read you, Jonesy. This is new, mate. So you've got to focus, okay? I'm going to read you a quote, okay? And you've got to tell me whether it was a cricketer or a Love Islander that said it, okay? And you get lots of bonus points and all that stuff if you can tell me who said it and what they were talking about, right? The context of which it was said. And I'm just going to read a quote out, and you basically shout answers at me. So there's no like Max's go, then Jones's go. I like the chaos of this. It's quite good fun. Are you ready? So who said, starting off, the environment became toxic? Who said that? First of all, you have to tell me it's a cricketer or a Love Islander.
Cricket, I'm going to say KP.
Yes, who said that? Max said that. See, he's already getting beat. He's only been on it once. So would you reckon, do you know when, around what did he say it?
Was that when Pete Moores was coaching?
Yeah, it was. You're talking about the England dressing room at that time. And it's fought out with the ECB. Now, these are just bonus points. You only get the main point for getting the actual answer right. Who also said, I've got to stay true to myself? Cricketer or Love Islander?
Love Island.
Yeah. Who? Max. You get blocked out now, Jonesy, because he said Love Island.
Well, yeah, but the brilliant thing is, neither of us watched the show, so we haven't got a clue. So your sort of thing that you've spent all week thinking up has been blown out of the water. That we don't know.
I mean, I knew you both watched cricket. I was hoping one of you watched Love Island.
Did I say it? Did I say it?
No, it wasn't you. It was Molly May who said it. And you know, she said it a few times. She was in Series 5 when defending herself against criticism about authenticity, I'll let you know. Right. Confidence is everything in this game. Who said that?
Yeah.
Who said cricketer or Love Islander? Confidence. Cricketer. Jonesy, who is it? And when did this person say it?
Man, like, I don't know. Is there any clues?
I'll give you a clue. Max has played with him.
Stokes.
Mark Wood.
No, what Max said. He told you the answer. It's Ben Stokes.
Ben Stokes. Go on.
He says it all the time around after the 19 Ashes in England's Bazball.
Sorry.
Normally this game works badly, Max, but this is appalling, I've got to say. Who said there are always politics involved? Cricketer or Love Islander?
Cricketer.
Yeah, who?
I'd be very surprised if anyone spoke about politics in Love Island.
I've seen some of the clips, and that's generally around geography as well. That's pretty bad, I've got to say. I'll give you a clue. Jonesy played with him. There's always politics involved. I'll give you a bigger clue. Bigger clue.
Strausser.
He's always, anything you watch in any media format, he's always there.
Jonesy, give us an answer.
You going towards KP then?
No, Varney.
No?
Varney said it.
Yeah. This is such
a
rubbish segment.
When he was discussing England's selection and dressing room dynamics. This was so good when I'd planned it in my head. Then I got you two numpties on it. It's not helping my credibility at all in my trying to set a game up. Social media changes everything. Who said that? Cricketer or Love Islander? Maybe if we did it quickly, it would help. Cricketer or Love Island? One of you say something. Social media changes everything. Who said what?
Max said cricketer.
Okay, sorry, Max. Go on. Who do you think it was? England bowler, current. Doesn't play much.
Also, it was
injured all the time.
Right.
Yeah, it's cricketer. You're going well at this. Jonesy's only got one right. I've been counting. It's 4. This is the 6th question. It's 4-1 to you currently, I think. Yeah, why not?
Nice.
Oh, I missed one out. Oh, there you go. It was Joffre. Who said people think they know you, but they don't? Cricketer or Love
I've
Island?
never heard Joffre say anything in an interview.
No, he might have written it down, though. That's true.
Right.
He was discussing online abuse and scrutiny during England's difficult periods between 2021 and 23. Who said people think they know you, but they don't? Anyone?
Love Island.
Yep. Who?
Oh,
Love Island.
What's Fury? What's Fury's? What's
I'll
the
give you a
Fury
clue,
character?
actually.
Some called.
I'll give you a clue. I'll do this. Actually, I'll change this.
Tommy Fury.
Tommy Fury? No. This person said it in post-show interviews after Love Island Series 3 in 2017, discussing public perception and online judgment.
Mate, I think Jen's calling me to go wash up. I think
Yeah,
I think she asked me to go wash up.
Okay, got one more. Last one, because this is the worst game we've ever played. People behave differently when cameras are around. Cricketer or Love Islander?
Oh, it's a cricketer.
And the answer is people behave differently when cameras are around.
I remember it, but I don't. If that
No?
makes any sense.
No, that doesn't, but it's good. Any ideas, Matt?
Yeah, no.
Is-
When you say,
Samit Patel.
Hey, who?
Samit Patel.
No. The answer is Max Morley. He said it. So there you go. That's the end of the quiz. So, I mean, it is pretty bad. Jonesy, we've had some low points, but I think this is probably going to win it, I'd say.
Yeah, I think you
Yeah,
go back to standard next week, mate. That was nice effort, but yeah. With
Yeah.
GCSEs have just started today, I think you've failed your first one, mate.
Yeah. Well, I don't think TV is actually a GC. Well, it might be nowadays. You never know, do you? Let's go around the grounds / cricket globally. Wisden Awards. Mitchell Starks won leading cricketer, men's cricketer. Deepti Sharma, women's version. Haseeb Hameed was one of the Wisdom's top 5 cricketers of the year. And he's unlikely to be selected in this squad that I think they announced tomorrow, possibly. I assume if Baz is back in the country yet, who knows? Do players care about awards at all? Or those awards specifically? Or not? Jonesy.
Yeah, I think the Wisden carries quite a bit of weight, definitely. And especially for those guys who, like Haseeb, who's been named one of the top 5 cricketers for his performances last summer. I played with Darren Stevens, who got that accolade as well, and it definitely meant a huge amount. So I think with Wisden and everything that name stands for, if you're, to get awarded by them, 100%, it means a lot.
Max, do you think, though, that should have some sort of, take Haseeb Hameed specifically, some sort of bearing on his selection at an England level?
Obviously, there's an opening spot available at the minute if they don't pick Crawley. But I guess so. It's I think for Hameed, it's more the style of play. I just don't think he fits the England mould at the moment, and that's probably the issue. He actually hasn't scored that many runs at the start of this series, this summer.
No.
You got Emilio Gay and Ben McKinney that are probably the front two, I'd say. But listen, he had a great. I actually did Notts' pre-season last year and actually met the Notts team, and they went on and had a great summer. So, listen, it always helps, but I don't think he'll be picked for the first test.
Jonesy and I picked our the 11s that we thought were going to make it. We'll come to that in a second when we do a bit of a county cricket roundup. But have you watched any of the IPL? I watched 10 minutes of a game the other day because that young lad was batting. But they're moving have you seen they're moving the final? It was supposed to be in Bengaluru, but then the Karnataka Cricket Association asked for 10,000 more tickets. And then the BCI just basically said, no, you can't have that. And they moved it to the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad, which is ironically where it's named after the current Prime Minister. So that's probably not, that coincidental at all. But do you think franchise cricket has become or is becoming too powerful?
Is this me or Jonesy?
Yeah, whoever wants. I'm freestyling it now after
Max.
that disaster of Silly Point.
Yeah. No, for me, franchise cricket is because T20 cricket and franchise cricket as a whole is so new. Obviously you got the IPL, it's been around a little bit longer, but I just think franchise cricket's in quite a strange place. It's so hard to follow. We all, we're all into his cricket, and it's really hard to follow and get behind teams. So when franchises do and tournaments do stuff like this, it's head scratching stuff because you just lose the love of it, the understanding of it, and I just think they need to be careful. Franchises, they've got to keep the audience happy and engaged. And at the moment, I'm not quite sure they've nailed that at the moment.
Jonesy, Marcus North, England selector. That means, you didn't get through the final interview. Alistair Cook pulled out. What do you make of England appointing an Australian as an England selector? I mean, Rod Marsh is involved. So it's not like it's the first time it's happened, But what do you make of it?
Rod Marsh was he was not happy when I was selected. That was for sure. Rod Marsh. That was on that. When I spoke about my selection in the West Indies, Rod was part of that, and he wasn't a happy camper. But we got on fine with it. I've got no issue. I think there's a lot of people saying, why are we doing it? But if you knew Marcus North is a good lad. He's and he's earned the right to do it. He's been up in Durham doing his role up there. He's been in county cricket for a number of years now, and so I haven't got an issue. I just want someone to do a good job. Doesn't matter where they're from, what country.
Yeah.
I think what it needs a bit of direction. It needs a shake up, and it needs to give that opportunity. Communication is one thing that coaches and players have talked about. That sort of interaction between a select. Be visible. Don't just pick and choose where. You've got to be visible. You've got to do the miles. You've got to go down there and go to all the grounds and look at people. Get yourself a good scouting group that you can trust. I know that there's scouting that goes on, but get all that behind the scenes stuff absolutely top notch. So when you're actually putting your side to McCullum and to Rob Key, you've got absolute sort of concrete evidence and concrete faith in that squad that you're presenting. And I think that's the area of improvement that where everyone's looking for. So for me, it doesn't matter who it is. And I know Northie played against him, and I think he'll do a good job. I think he'll do that underpinning knowledge and legwork to put forward the best teams that he sees.
Max, what do you think of the obvious connection that social media and mainly, I guess, have made between Stokes and Marcus North, being both at Durham, sort of, collusion, all that sort of type of stuff? Obviously, it's complete nonsense, but is there anything? Do you think there's anything that that swayed the Stokes connection, swayed Marcus North's appointment? Do you think?
Listen, I think it's a good thing. At the end of the day, you want people to have good relationships and good understanding between each other. And they will have had history through the Durham connection, and that can only be a good thing for England. So for me, I actually think it's quite a good move, and good luck to him.
Tell you what, if I was Ben McKinney and Emilio Gay, I'd be very happy about that, about the spot. They're, I think, so let's move that on to the county cricket sort of bit, which we always do. We've had this watch list going on, Max, that's ever growing. And then it sort of falls away because some players started well and haven't gone on. And then we picked our sort of what we thought our sides were. Pretty much we both agreed that
Right.
Duckett was going to open. Bethel down to Smith was set. There were no changes down to 7. We both thought that Atkinson, Archer and Tongue were going to be the quicks. And so that came really down to the other opening bat and the spinner, really. I'd gone for Sibley, and I will still go for Dom Sibley, even though I'm well aware that England don't like looking backwards. You went for James Rew, didn't you? But he seems to have gone off the boil a little bit. So
he
do you think they're going to pick on
came out of the
talent or
blocks
form?
early. No, I think Emilio Gay has bashed the door down. BBC did a good article today where they broke down and provided some stats, and he's got 552 runs, and is out there. So he's got
That's 2 bits of research in one show.
Mate, since
Tell
I've
you what,
become
you're on fire.
mate, the realization I'm unemployed and I do have a bit of time on my hands. You've got to be careful. It's watch out now. But so he's definitely. So unfortunately for Rew, he's also. He does bat 4. Emilio Gates opened the batting, so that's a bit more credit for him. It would have been potential. I know people have said about Smith going up or Rew, who's batted 4, give him an opportunity. But I just don't think you can go past Gay with his performances, and he's earned that right 100%.
Max, you not think McKinney's more of a natural fit at top of the order?
start of last season, there was huge rumours that McKinney was going to be picked. They didn't go down that route, and he's tailed off a little bit. I did hear a few people talk about his technique. I think Jimmy Anderson found him out last week. The technique now has been talked about early, which is obviously not a great sign. But yeah, listen, Emilio Gay, he's scored runs, and he's actually won the games for Durham as well. Him and David Benningham last week, did he not?
Yeah, he's got
300 off.
He's got 200s in a row. Yeah, he got 100
each. Yeah,
and at Middlesex at Lords he got 100 as well.
yeah.
Today
So
they both got runs. Gay
he's
McKinney.
yeah. So listen, it's going to be a shootout. I don't know who they're going to go with. Listen, if I was betting man, I'd say Gay, but who knows? You never know what Stokes he's got up his sleeve.
I also like the fact he's
spinners
26.
are really. Who is?
Just the fact Gay's 26, so I like the fact he's been around for a while and he's had to find his game. And as we're talking about McKinney there, sort of there's a few chinks starting to show in here. Whereas, with Gay, he's gone up to Durham, he's sort of found some form, and he's 26 is a nice age, and it always used to be. Yeah, I think having that sort of 7 seasons in the game to go through your good, your bad patches and to understand it. And then now to make that next jump up, he's going to be comfortable in his skin and in his technique, and the biggest thing at the top level is trusting yourself. And I think at the moment he trusts what he does implicitly. And so now is a great time for him to go on there and have a go.
There's no point talking about a spinner because go on, Max.
Oh, go on. Yeah, Emilio, I don't know if it's coincidence, but he's done quite a lot of the media rounds lately. He was on TalkSport and he was on Wisden Cricket podcast a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if the ECB have put him in front of the cameras, but yeah, he spoke really well. He talked about confidence and how much he backs his ability. So, it's all in good stead for the summer.
Well, he went to a good school, Max. As I told Jonesy before, 3 very good cricketers have come out of that school: Alistair Cook, Emilio Gay, and me. Jonesy, you spoke about the press. You spoke about the press picking players, or words to that effect, didn't you? A couple of shows ago. Is that a sign then that Emilio Gay is the next cab off the rank?
I think press noise definitely has an influence. The more your name gets put out there, then the more you get watched, and then you put performances, it backs it up. So, I think if he himself has been the one getting and doing the press stuff, fair play. That's credit to him. But I think it's probably more coincidental that he's just happened to have probably gone on these shows, and he's at a chance where he can promote himself, and he's comfortable, and he can just go on there and talk. And he's probably desperately hoping that if he gets picked, but at the same time, he's probably thinking, well, if it happens, it happens. He's probably at that sort of point in his time, and he'd be comfortable if he did, comfortable if he didn't.
Ben Duckett got a double 100 today. In somewhat farcical conditions. Rory Burns was bowling. I mean, Sibley bowled, and pretty much everybody bowled. The one person that didn't bowl in that second innings was Gus Atkinson. I don't know if he was injured or not, but he took 1 for 80 in the first innings, didn't bowl in the second. We talked about resting players last week, Max. Atkinson's basically, this is his second championship game. We had a couple of sort of opposing comments, if you like, on our comments on YouTube. William Hung said that unless he was injured, he should play, whereas I'm sure this is not his real name, Mr. the Viper 99 disagreed and said it was right to rest Atkinson. Where do you sit on resting players, and especially centrally contracted players?
Yeah, I bet it was completely different for Jonesy in his era. But now boys are connected. They're looked after so much more. The overs are managed. They're told when they can't play, and I think it's a good thing. You look at Mark Woods, that's really struggled with injuries through the years, and it's never when he's come back from injury, he's still performing at a high level. So as long as he's what you got to understand is you've got to understand the players themselves. If some people need to bowl and have rhythm, you've got to keep them playing. Some players can go away from the game, get the bodies right, come straight in and fit in. Look what happened in the winter. They talked about that the preparation was poor. There was not enough fitness, and it came back to bite us in the arse. Where if Gus is injured, fair dues. If he needs a rest, as long as he comes back and he's fighting fit for that first Test match, who are we to say what's right or wrong? I just think the cricket board in general need to understand the players as individuals and make sure they get that right.
Do you know what's happened in the match? It's on social media, there's that guy that takes the mick out of Keezy. I can't remember, with sort of they'll do sort of selection stuff. In that, the reason Gus Atkinson isn't bowling is because Josh Tongue hit him on the head twice and he's concussed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you can imagine that ECB Towers, what they're thinking right now is, so that's unfortunately for Atkinson. He's come back in. He's got hamstring issues, which is why they were sort of being a bit careful with him, wrapping in cotton wool. But in the match today, he got hit in the head twice by the guy that he's probably potentially was going to open the bowling with for England in that first test. So hopefully he's all right and he can play.
So Tongue's either cemented or put his place or gone the completely opposite direction. New Zealand are a good side, at which point Jones is going to tell us he got 100 against them. General question then, are New Zealand always sort of, undermined, if you like, as a side, or underrated, or not given as much respect as they should get? Jonesy.
Well, I think in the past, historically, potentially, yes, but with their performances that they put forward now, I don't think you can. With everything they've done, for such a small country number wise to produce what they do, and they're actually coming into this test. They've got a couple of fast bowlers, really tall fast bowlers who are back fit, which can boost them up. So I don't. They're a tough opposition. They're really hard to get runs against. New Zealand. It's one of the toughest in the world to score against. Yeah. And any credit to anyone that manages to get 100 against them. It's quite a miraculous performance. But this is a bit of self-promotion, Max, in case you're wondering.
Max,
my only 100 was against New Zealand.
We had Nick Compton on the show, and he got 200s against New Zealand. Between him and Jonesy, it was like, it was New Zealand love fest. It was the toughest bowling attack and the fiercest competitors. All sorts of stuff went on. Right, let's finish off then. Now, I'm going to stress after Silly Point, this is quick fire, okay? I'm going to have to remove one question, which was going to be name me one live island contestant who survived county cricket. Bearing in mind that you two don't watch it, that's probably quite a redundant question. So let's go with question one. Max, one cricketer who would thrive on Love Island.
Oh, Reece Topley.
Reece Topley. Oh. Jonesy, most underrated cricket ground.
Underrated? What? That's quick fire.
What a Jonesy's vocabulary.
One of my old grounds, Abergavenny. What a place that is.
And love stick it. With you, Jonesy. Best dressing room character.
Joe Denley.
Max, you? Best dressing room character?
Oh, Mark Wood by Country Mile.
And Jonesy, one cricketer who's thrive on Love Island that you played with. I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? It's one answer.
Oh no, I know you wanted to go KP, but no. Now you've put me under pressure. I can't remember his name. Come back to me on that. Let me think. Let me get that in my head again. It's gone out of my mind.
Okay, fine. It's not Strauss. I hope it's not Strauss.
No, I got it.
Max,
got it. I've got it. Peter.
Oh, who is it?
No, it's back. Peter Trigo, who I played with
at
Kent and Somerset. Yeah, he's a good-looking unit. He's got the tats. Yeah,
he's got tats,
he'd have the confidence to go in there. Yeah, Peter Trigo once couldn't play a game for us at Kent because he sliced his hand open, distressing his own jeans with a pair of scissors. And that's the sort of character you're looking at. And he's perfect for Love Island, I reckon.
Max, last question for you then. What do you miss most about Chasing the Dream?
Chasing the Dream?
Yeah, whichever dream you want, mate. You could still be chasing it, obviously.
I'm always chasing the dream. We always want better, don't we? Yeah?
There you go. That's a good answer. We like that. Jonesy, thanks very much. And Max, especially, thanks for having to put up with Jonesy and I and our rubbish questions and generally being part of this. And look forward to
thanks, Rob.
seeing how you go.
I hope I didn't bore you too much.
See you, mate.